Hey y'all, I'm Josie,
And I'm Vickie.
and today we're going to take our relationship to social media little by slowly. So, Vickie and I were talking a little bit earlier, and um, we were just kind of going over the way we interact with social media, what pages it is that we're interacting with, and like overall, just like what our relationship with it is, whether or not we think that's healthy or not. I just think it's there's a lot that can be said about social media and the way we use it. But of course, we can only speak to like the way that we use it and the relationship that we ourselves hold with it. Um, and so, yeah, we're gonna dig into it.
100%. Yeah, I feel like my relationship with social media has changed so much over time, especially as I've gotten older, which I think is something cool that we can also discuss because yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the very first social media thing that I was on, and I think it was MySpace.
Yeah, I was also on MySpace. I hated the thought of having social media as a child, but my dad made me get it, and he also made me get Facebook.
See?
I did not want to get it. I did it against my will because I just didn't want social media. I didn't like the concept or the idea of having to like post my life on it because it felt very overwhelming to me. And so I didn't want it. But then my dad was like, "No, make it," and he was like, "How's it gonna be connected to family and people?" And I was like, "Okay." My dad was very much like, "This is the way of the future," and I was like,
Dang, I did not know that about you.
"Yeah."
I feel like the more we do this, the more we learn that we're like similar, but then also really, really different because I was obsessed with social media. I begged my mom to give me a Facebook and to let me have a MySpace, and I had to give her all my passwords to all my stuff just to like make sure I wasn't doing anything shady. I don't even know if she checked it. I think it was just like something you do with children to make sure that they're not talking to strangers on the internet. But I used to post all the time. I used to take so many selfies and just take pictures of random shit and just post it just to post it.
I like that. I respect that. um, yeah, again, that's why like now if you look at like my like Instagram, my Twitter are both really pretty new. Because I did have them a little bit when I was younger, and then I deleted them because I was like, I didn't like having it. Facebook I never actually deleted, and MySpace I did delete. Because again, it's not something that I cared for in my youth, but the way I use it now is very different because I very much enjoy using it. um and I think most recently, like, I find myself wanting to document a lot of things, especially like on Snapchat or like Instagram. I feel, and I think that has to do with like Instagram in itself. It kind of just has to do with my own confidence that I have right now. Because last year I did not have that, and I didn't take many photos last year because I just felt very negatively about myself. And this year I'm starting to feel more positive about myself, and I feel good sharing that with people, sharing those parts of me with people. And it's not necessarily like I'm not looking for like validation. I'm not like obsessing over like who's liked it, who's commented on it, but it's just like, wow, I feel good.
Hmm.
Enjoy is kind of how um I'm using it right now. So I think it's interesting because I definitely am posting more, and I feel like I have thoughts in my brain, and sometimes I'll just be like, I'll just put this on my story. Interact with it as you will.
I am quite literally the opposite. If I'm feeling bad about myself or I'm feeling bad, I will post a lot. Like, I know not last year, well, last year and 2019, I was in kind of like a weird relationship that I wasn't happy in. And I was like, not happy with like my jobs and my life, and I was really stressed out, and I posted constantly. Like, it was always just like just random pictures. Like, I posted a lot of my art. Like, I'd post, I think I did like 30 straight days of me making a collage every single day. Like I would just post, post, post. And when I'm in a good mood, when I'm actually like happy with myself and my life, I most never post because I'm too busy enjoying the life that I'm like I'm just sitting there, like I'm texting more often. I'm just scrolling and looking at other people's stuff. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. But to get to your first
Yeah.
point of what you did was like where where you talked about how your relationship with social media is now. I think my relationship with social media since it was before, I don't know why I'm over explaining this, but what I'm trying to say is that currently, if I can get off of social media, I will. Like I'm not on Facebook at all. I am very rarely touch Instagram. I'm not on Snapchat. I mean, I think the most thing that I'm on is Twitter, just because it's like, I don't know, it feels less overwhelming because it's just reading. Yeah. I'll be on TikTok though. TikTok is cool because it's like short bursts of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly feel like, what's it called? I so my posting in my use, if I'm posting more, I'm probably not using social media as much. Which is weird because you might wonder, what do you mean? I mean that like I'll go on to post, look at a few things, and then I'll kind of just like go on with my life. When I'm stressed and when I'm sad, that's when I'll like spend countless hours on my bed scrolling. And so that's the difference is that like if I'm in a negative like headspace, I'm using it a lot, I'm sending a lot of things to people, I'm responding pretty quickly, and I'm just like attached to my phone, but I don't want to be seen by the world. And so that's crazy because I hadn't thought about that before up until like now,
Yeah.
because lately again I haven't been like using it, and I haven't been getting overwhelmed by notifications that people send me because sometimes I do get overwhelmed. But lately I haven't, and I just feel like I feel more at peace with my social media use lately. But sometimes I do overthink. I'm like, damn, I've been posting a lot. Someone's out here probably thinking like, damn, she's so vain. What the hell? Like, she doesn't even look that good. Why is she posting?
I don't know anyone that's like would think that. And you also get hundreds of likes on all of your pictures. So I get like most 30 likes on any of my pictures. You always get like more than 100 likes. And that's why I could not imagine like you ever thinking that anyone is just like, dang, this bitch is vain. Because like everyone's just like, you're so awesome, you're amazing. And I do the same thing. Like I like and I comment on your stuff and tell you how like beautiful you are because you are. So I don't resonate with that intrusive thought you said out loud.
I say all my intrusive thoughts out loud, which first of all, I just need to start going like like you say. Yeah, I don't know why. I feel like people are gonna like look at that and be like, why is she posting so much? Like, she don't got a life. Like, okay, we get it. You're happy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But it's like realistically thinking about it, like I don't look at people's stuff and I'm not like, wow, this bitch is vain. I'm like, wow, this bitch looks good. Good for you. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what happens in my brain.
When I'm my happiest, I literally forget I have a phone. I just forget I have a phone. And like so I did that this weekend. My sister's birthday was this past weekend, and when we went to go eat on Sunday, I forgot my phone in the restaurant because I was just like living life with my family, and we were in Chinatown. It was really, really nice. I went to go get my phone. I have my phone. I remembered it. Yeah, but like it was, I don't know. That little moment made me think like, I don't know. I think that it's mostly just like I get really forgetful when I'm happy because I'm just so caught up in the moment. I'm so caught up with like experiencing the joy of like the now.
Okay. Thought process that just went through my mind.
Okay.
I think my when I'm not happy, it tends to come from like social disconnections that I'm experiencing at that time and moment. And like I'm not seeing as many people as much, or like I just feel like there's trouble in like my interpersonal relationships and stuff like that. And so if I'm using social media more when I'm sad because of those reasons, like it could be very much like I want to be more connected with people. But if I'm with people and I'm happy and I feel connected then and there, then it's like, why do I care about what's on this?
Yeah,
Right. Um, was the thought that was going through my mind as you were saying that.
I completely agree with it. And I think that is also my thought process because I don't know. I also use it as a form when I'm like sad or upset. I use it as a form of like validation. Like it is like a big validation thing. Like I'll like post a really cute selfie and I'll have people swipe up and tell me I'm pretty and stuff like that. And then I'm like, okay, at least I'm pretty, but I'm still depressed, but I'm pretty. And that's what I'll do. That is literally what I did all of like most of 2019. I was just like not happy. I was really
Yeah, every
stressed.
time
Yeah.
every time you post now, I'm gonna text you and be like, hey, you good?
I'll like look at my page. If you see all the posts that I've posted recently, it's like for special occasions. It's nothing like just like me posting to post. It's like for something. So that's kind of
Right, I have noticed that.
it's a strong disconnect to how I was when I was younger. Because if I was still on Facebook, I would get so many notifications like of remember this, like that kind of things. Because I used to post statuses like all the time, especially in middle school. I would post a status like going to sleep, good night, everyone. Like that was the main thing that I would always do. And it was so bad. I was so bad.
That's so funny. Uh, that's so funny. I think it's funny how me and you like are literally the exact opposite with our social media use with like in our past, our present, and like even the emotions we feel when we use it or why we're using it
Mhm.
too. This is interesting. I wasn't expecting this today.
Yeah.
I really enjoy TikTok, and the reason I really enjoy TikTok is because the way their algorithm works, what you interact with is what you're going to see more, right? And I really enjoy that, and like I enjoy the concept of having algorithms and the concept of like even on Instagram, like if I interact with certain pages more, they'll suggest more pages like that. And I just think that's really cool because then I'm surrounded by like what's in my brain already. You know, like my brain has a visual connection to what is happening and thinking up here. And I think that makes me really like happy to see. And it's something that like I don't think Pinterest does very well. Um
Really?
cuz yeah, I don't think Pinterest does it very well because um I think with very particular things like if you like it'll just show me like any hairstyle, or if I look up like curly hair, I had to look up really specific words for anything. Really specific words to get certain like, and I don't think Pinterest does it really well because if I just type in outfits, I'm gonna get a bunch of like little skinny bitches in outfits, and I'm like, that's not what I want to see. That's not what my
Yeah.
brain wants to see right now. Or if I just type in curly hair, it's gonna show me people with straight hair who use a curling iron to curl their hair. It's typically what I see when I like try to interact with things, and so that's why I don't think Pinterest does it very well. But so I don't use Pinterest that much. But with like Instagram and like TikTok and stuff like that, I really enjoy the way their algorithms work, and I enjoy. I know like the concept of an algorithm is kind of like whoa, that's crazy, but I just like enjoy it because again, it's like that. What's in my brain is in my hand, and I can I don't have to visualize that. I just it's there.
Mhm. I was about to say that I really enjoy Pinterest and TikTok
Go
because
ahead. Go ahead.
there are two things like those that I think want to say they're my two most used apps because they're two things that don't like force me to post. Like I don't have to post any of my own content on TikTok for it to be an interesting app. I don't have to post any of my own content on Pinterest for it to be an interesting app. And I like the same thing too. I thought that Pinterest had good algorithms because I pin a lot of stuff. So on my Pinterest homepage, everything is separated into categories. So it'll be like rings, jewelry, earrings, red hair ideas, outfit ideas, all based off of my past pins. And then my whole feed when I scroll will also be all based off of the things that I've pinned in the past. So it feels really personalized to me because I can just click on rings and it'll be all similar rings to all the rings that I've pinned in the past. So that's why I liked it. And I felt like
Mm.
TikTok does not that. I feel like I don't have a good experience with TikTok's algorithm because it gives me like my home feed gives me whatever. Like I'm looking at like I don't know, like straight people TikTok. I get like what they call like gay TikTok. I get like all the different types of TikTok, and then the only thing that's like catered to me is if I go to the ones that are I'm following, like the following page or something.
Mm. That's interesting because my like for you page is very much very similar to what's on my following page. Um, I don't know how you're using it.
I don't.
I
I
don't want to say you're doing it wrong
I might
because
be
that's your
doing it
experience.
wrong. Yeah, I straight up might be doing it wrong.
That's interesting. On TikTok, I always find it interesting whenever I come across a post that's like on the really opposite end of what my views are, and I'm like, what did I interact with to get this on my page today? Like, what did I do? So I had to do something wrong. I had to interact with something that I thought was good, but apparently it wasn't. Oops, my. um.
I want to say that maybe I'm using it correctly, and I'm just thinking that there's not any creators viewpoints that are not mine because everything I see on my TikTok page I think is funny and I think is like it aligns with the way that I view. So you're probably right. I never see any like crazy alt-right people on my TikTok or like any like
I've
racism or homophobia or xenophobia or anything like that.
I've seen like one or two TikToks and the whole I'll be watching it. I'm like, okay, say psych right now, like, and they don't because like have you seen those where like there's like an alt right TikTok and then they're like, wait, no, JK, that's not this page, and then they kind of
No.
like the whole point of the TikTok is to like get your anxiety up for whatever reason, and they're like, JK.
I've seen the ones
You're
where
like,
they like it's not that extreme. I saw this one where this girl was doing her sister's nails, but you don't know it's her sister, and she's just sitting there listing off all of the bad qualities. She's like, she moves around too much. She never tips. She always pays me too like little, and all this kind of stuff. And at the end, she's like, "Oh, it's my sister." I've seen those.
I haven't seen that. That's
It's like
funny.
it's like a joke. I don't know.
Social media usage is just really interesting at the end of the day, I think. Um, and I remember when I first had TikTok, I had this overwhelming thought like, dang, I'm never going to be able to see all the TikToks that exist. And because I thought about like how everyone's page is designed kind of like for them based off what they interact with. And TikToks that I see might be TikToks that you may never interact with, and our pages might be completely different. And that would overwhelm me because I would just be like, how am I going to find them all? Um, and then I eventually got over that that thought. What'd you say?
Do you need to find them all?
Like Pokemon?
Like,
No, I don't. I don't. I don't. But in my mind, in that moment, it just was overwhelming because it's like how can so much exist? How
okay.
can so much exist? And we're only exposed to like a small portion of it. And like for me that just feels like overwhelming because it's like I want to be able to see more. Like why do I feel so limited in my use? I think was the feeling that I was having. Um but I've come past it. I don't stay up at night thinking about it anymore. um
Oh, jeez.
which I think kind of like brings us to like the whole our own like exposures and like overexposures and like what's out there.
Yeah.
I guess my thoughts are with social media, it's nice because anything can be posted at any time, in any way, in any language, and like the apps can be shown in any language. Anyone can access it. That's really cool. That's a big positive, but it's also kind of like a negative because like anything can be posted. And I guess that's why there's always like those like infomercials that are like don't trust everything you see on the internet. Um and like I'll even see like those jokes about it too where it's like don't believe everything you see on the internet and it's like don't even believe this. um so I just think again, I think it's wild that there's so much information, some that we may never be exposed to just because of the way our algorithms are, but it's nice how accessible it can be. Cause like my grandparents, they can use TikTok. They like using TikTok. They find the stuff that falls on their page because their page is mainly in Spanish. And sometimes they'll send things to the family group chat and be like, "Oh, this is so and so," and I just think that's cool because we're able to communicate with each other through these TikToks. Through we're communicating in the same way, but just through different. I guess the best metaphor would be like through different like dialects.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it feels like because we each have our own page and our own world that we exist with and within social media. Um, so I think that's pretty cool. It's just like the accessibility and the way you're able to connect with people on the internet and then off of it too.
I've always thought really positively about the internet and social media in general. I don't think I've ever, like, I've playfully said, "Oh, I hate the internet." Like when someone does something stupid, and I'm just like, "That's so stupid. I hate the internet." But I've never had like an active like hate for it. Like I've never been that type of person that I think recently on a dating app in someone's bio, they put like the world's biggest mistake was developing the internet. And I was like, do you really think so? Because like you wouldn't be on this app if you really thought that.
that's true. Yeah.
I just think it holds so much benefit for everyone, and it does exactly what you say. Like it connects so many people to different contents and media that they might not have been able to connect with if it's not like right in front of them. And I think out of the many horrible and tragic things that came out of quarantine and isolation, one of the few positive things that came out was the fact that a lot of speeches and presentations and events were broadcast over social media, which made it so much more accessible to those who couldn't fly to New York if they're in Chicago for an event,
Mhm.
those who can't go to a building because it's inaccessible to those with disabilities, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I think I've always had a really positive relationship with the internet. I think nothing but good things about it, even though there's lots of horrible things on it. I think sometimes on some occasions the good outweighs the bad, and even when you're looking at the bad, just remember all the good. So
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think you bringing that up kind of just like makes me think about all these like educational infographics that we see on social media now, right? How cool that is. But I feel like those because they're posted on social media, I feel like people try to like invalidate them as not being like credible or like actual information and knowledge to hold. So I think that's interesting. The way we judge and critique what's credible. And if it's posted on social media, it's like, well, I guess it can be true. It can't. Um, but sometimes I see things on Twitter and I'm like, I'd cite that. Like, let me cite this tweet. Who's gonna stop me from citing this tweet? Who's gonna stop me?
I feel like that's a thing. I want to say that somebody has cited a tweet before. How could they not? If you're on Twitter, there's so many journalists and writers and scholars on there who write tweets that could possibly be cited. And it's also it almost feels like they're citing things themselves, because if you subtweet or retweet something with a caption on it, it's like you're citing something. You're like, this is what I'm talking about, this is the evidence, and I'm putting my own input up top with this
Yeah.
in text citation.
I don't know why, like, in like my brain, like I feel like the connection I was going to make was back to our conversation on storytelling and how like cool it is that people can share their own experiences and be like, yeah, this is what happened in my community in this year that we didn't learn in school. But then people in comments will be like, well, where's the citation for this? And it's like, it is knowledge that I am bringing,
Yeah.
giving you my story. Hello, here you go. Um, and so I don't know. I guess that's why like I feel like sometimes like that knowledge that is presented on social media isn't always taken as like valid and as credible, but I think it should. Under circumstances, I think it should. Um
100%. There's an example I wanted to give. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but uh, there's an individual on TikTok who's, I believe, Native American, and they always talk about different indigenous practices on their TikTok. And a lot of people like stitch them, and they're like, is that what it's called? Stitching? Like, when,
yes.
yeah, stitch them and like try to invalidate them. And they're just like, how are you trying to invalidate this when this is literally my history? This is like my family. And I think that's a perfect example of them like using that platform to tell their own history that's not being taught anywhere else because it's
Hmm.
often erased.
Yeah. And then think about like again, academia and like how academia really likes to silence voices as well. And
Yeah.
like that's why a lot of this knowledge isn't there. So that's really amazing about social media is that we get to hear other people's stories, we get to be exposed to them, and like it's changing narratives, it's changing the way we process things, it's changing things that we thought were true. Yeah, wild.
It is wild. And there's also lots of like really funny, stupid stuff on there. Like I follow this woman who all she does is like analyze and break down scenes in Twilight. That's all she does. That's all she does. And I love it. I fucking love her content. I just sit there and I'm like, I did not notice that connection from book 3 all the way to the first book, Twilight. Whoa.
Did you read the books?
Yeah, all of them. I was a bit,
Oh my,
I loved Twilight. Literally during recess in middle school, I would just sit and read Twilight. Just sit and read Twilight.
I never read Twilight, but I do very much enjoy the movie. So I like when people reenact the Twilight films on TikTok. Or there's this one person in particular on TikTok who will reenact it as this is what Twilight would be like if Bella would have had like normal responses to
Yeah. Yeah.
to the Collins family.
Daisy literally sent me the funniest Twilight TikTok I have ever seen. I was crying. It was from the perspective of a movie attendant, and it was the different types of people who showed up to see Twilight, and then they like did the people only coming because they wanted because they loved Paramore, because Paramore had worked on the soundtrack, and it was people coming because they were obsessed with vampires, and then they were mocking and imitating these people. And when they showed the people who were obsessed with vampires, the kids who were like cosplaying as vampires were like hissing at the attendant. And it was the funniest video ever, because I can truly imagine people at the theater like hissing at the attendant, and the attendant just being like, I'm so fucking over this, man. I'm just trying to work. I'm just trying to do my job. And I have these 13-year-olds hissing at me. Oh, I love it.
That's so fun. I'm glad that we kind of like shifted a little bit too, because sometimes social media doesn't have to be that deep. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It's cool that it can be, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to like sit and like escape and just watch things that make you laugh. Like I think I have not watched a movie in a while. I watched the movie yesterday. But other than that, it's kind of hard for me to kind of like sit down and like to be able to watch a movie, especially with like how busy life can be. I think when I was an undergrad and I would take my work breaks, I would watch movies 30 minutes at a time because I had a 30-minute break. So it
Mm.
would take me like 3 days to watch a movie. And
Uh-huh.
so that's why, like, I feel like there's nothing wrong with just sitting and scrolling through social media. There's nothing wrong with that because it's something that brings me joy and it is a moment of relief that I hold. And sometimes, because the way life is, that can't always be done through a movie or TV show. Sometimes it's just done through TikTok. And in the morning, like this morning, sometimes in the morning, like I try to like move my body, but like this morning I was like, you know what? I just want to lay in bed and watch some TikToks. And I had some really good laughs. And it felt good to be able to start my morning that way, to be able to start being like, dang, this is funny. Like life today's gonna be pretty good. Like um so yeah.
Yeah. I really like that perspective because that's true. I don't remember the quote, but it was this really cheesy quote about how laughter is so like it's something that like rejuvenates your body and it has endorphins and it like genuinely like lightens your mood and lightens your mental and all that kind of stuff. And like it's really cool that you can get that from social media, from other people and not even in your same city, neighborhood, anything. Like someone in a whole fucking other country just making you laugh until you cry. Like I think that is so cool and so nice.
Yeah. It really is so cool and nice. And like today, like I did it like I was in a good mood this morning. And that put me like in an even better mood. But like there are days where I'm just like mentally not really there. I kind of check out from people, but I still want that interaction without having that commitment. And I'm able to have that through social media where I'm able to see things. And like sometimes I will be sad and I'll be crying for like whatever reason I'm crying about. And I'll be like, that's funny.
Just tears. It's good. I also think it's cool that like I don't know, sometimes social media helps me get dressed in the morning and not in a like a depressing way, but in a like it's how it helps me find inspiration for an outfit, I think is a better way to say it. Like I'll go on social media and
Yes. And that's
I'll see someone wearing like a really cute outfit and I'll recreate it. And I'll be like, I've put my own spin on it and I think this is so cool and I would not have thought of it if I hadn't have seen someone else wear it.
yeah, I do that too with like outfits and mainly makeup.
Mm,
Makeup. I look I like follow some of the pages I follow are the ones that do like the Reddit posts while they're doing their makeup because it what
yeah.
that's really entertaining to me because I get a visual that has nothing to do with what's being said and I focus really well on that for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Um but I think that's really cool because I'll see it and I'll be like, okay, I can do that. And so obviously I can't do it because I'm not a makeup artist, but I do it in the variation that I know how to do it. And like those colors like inspire me and they make me feel happy. And so I really much feel that, especially with like the outfits and stuff too. It's like, okay, I've never thought about wearing it that way. What's it called?
Yeah.
I was about to say social media, what's it called? Incites innovation, but then I was like, that sounds a lot like the capitalism incites innovation. Like it's used.
100%. You sound like an
I sound
advertisement.
like a capitalist.
Yeah, sound like an Elon Musk advertisement. Yeah. You know, okay. I'm gonna say what my favorite like guilty pleasure to watch on TikTok is, and I want you to say yours after it. But
Okay,
mine
okay.
is watching those people who just do videos of their days, but they don't show like their face or even their hands or their feet or anything. All they do is like quickly go through whatever it is, like 60, 30 seconds of them like making their bed, like doing their homework, like sitting there eating like a bowl of cereal, going on a jog. And I just, and it's really aesthetic because they're doing that on purpose. Like everything is like blue one day, everything is purple one day, and it all looks really like cool. And then so it's like when they're going to like take a shower, they'll put like all the shampoo or conditioner in their hands, and it just looks so aesthetic and calming, and they'll put like a cool like lo-fi beat over it. And I understand that's really basic, and I understand it's mostly like really young white girls just sitting there just like aesthetically looking at my day. But I love it. It's just like I sit there and watch it, and they'll go on vacation in like these crazy places, and I'll just be like watching them, and I'm like, this is so cute and cool and relaxing. That's my guilty pleasure that I watch.
I have never seen those TikToks in my life. I've seen one of them. I follow this one woman, but she makes hers because she was having a really hard time getting ready and getting up out of bed, and so she started doing hers. And so this is kind of like she does it now for like this community who helps her feel accountable, right? Like it's something that like, I guess, purpose giving. And I know you want me to tell you what my guilty pleasure is, but I just think it's so cool that like we're able to find purpose through that. And I don't think it's messed up that we find purpose through it, because I know some people will. But fact of the matter, sometimes it's hard. If you're alone, especially in this past year, sometimes it's hard to do things for yourself. It's hard to take care of yourself. It's hard to do things you're supposed to do. And with social media, sometimes it's like, wow, look, I did this. Like I started running again. I post pictures of my runs, and I'm like, I did this today. And like for me, that feels nice, because it's not like so much like accountability, but it's like showing like, hey, I was able to do this today. And so I was thinking about her, and she's been doing it for like a few months now, straight every day she does it. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now she knows she got to be posting. I'll send you her page later, because I really like hers, and she's not a young white girl. So that's cool. But my guilty pleasure.
Sorry, I just wanted to say really quickly that I also really like the fact that like, and this is another one of those things that I think other people are gonna say like, you should be stronger than that, and like, but I also think that it's really important and really wonderful how much support you can get for doing that too. Like with your runs, like I'm sure you have people who swipe up and be like, proud of you, and I'm sure she gets lots of comments telling her that they're proud of her. Like people need validation. Like I think it's idiotic when people are just like, I don't need anyone to tell me I'm great. I know I'm great. I'm like, but how'd you find that out? Someone had to tell you that you're great. You had to win some award to get told that you were great. So this is what people
exactly.
This helps
exactly. People. And then with my runs, I think somebody had swiped up and said, wow, I'm really proud of you for like your self, for your for the growth you're experiencing right now. And I was like, I wasn't thinking about it that way, but that's like really cool, because I posted things you noticed, and you're like, wow, you're growing. And I'm like, how cool is that people can say this about you, and like, I don't know. And I like how we're also like so quick to like explain ourselves and like fight off those who might think against us right away, because we're like, we know there's gonna be people out there who don't agree with our views on social media, because for whatever reason it's a complex topic. But just know we have our argument ready.
Ready to fight anyone who thinks that the internet is pointless.
So my guilty you're gonna hate this answer. Hate this answer. Probably. Because when I think about what my TikTok guilty pleasure is, for me it's the Twilight video.
No, that's what, because I don't even. That's my second guilty pleasure. That one and Gilmore Girl videos of them like critiquing the Gilmore Girl characters.
For me, I just really like the reenactments. When there's this one page that will literally reenact they've reenacted the whole movie, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't even like the movies like that. That's the thing. I don't even like the movies like that. Nice. I never liked them. I had never finished like watching like. I never finished watching them all until like last year, and so I don't know what it is about them that I really enjoy. I had so I would say that. No, go ahead.
I just said that I had a new moon poster on my wall. I was so obsessed with Twilight. It's an
Were
obsession.
you a vampire girl? Were you a it's just
No. Okay, I regret my choices now, so I don't want any flack for this, but I was definitely
bullying?
Team Jacob. Definitely Team Jacob. I loved his part in Breaking Dawn, because Breaking Dawn is 3 different sections. It's like Bella's perspective and then Jacob's perspective and then Bella again. I loved the part Jacob section where like they talked about the tribe and all that kind of stuff. I loved it. Do you follow like Twilight cosplayers, or is it just people like in normal clothes reenacting it?
It's just people with normal clothes reenacting it, because they reenact in like they use like different scenarios. Like again, it's like, okay, what if Bella would have acted the way anyone else would have acted? What if Jacob would have actually like bit her that first day he like sniffed her?
Uh-huh.
And stuff like that. Or like they'll show like behind the scenes clips of like what the movie looked like while filming it.
Oh yeah.
Like, have you seen those running clips where they're just like
Yeah.
on like the
Yes. I love the deleted scenes. I think that
Mhm.
are those are really cool too.
Yeah. So I think that's one of my guilty pleasures. I also like watching those with the Bob's Burgers, because there's this family who will do the Bob's Burgers ones and they'll just like reenact it, and I think that's really fun. I really like the actors on TikTok. I'm like, dang, all of y'all should be in movies. um, but I feel like this conversation has been like really fruitful. I just think it's interesting how me and you like had very different experiences with it, growing up and then even now. But yet again, I don't really like think about the way that my friends interact with social media or what are their emotions that go with it, because why would I? Why would anyone?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's also this idea that people get on their phones and get on social media when they're bored of the person they're with. I feel like that's been like the idea that I felt carried around. Um, and sometimes I do it where I'll just like open an app and then I'll close it, I'll open it and I'll close it. But for me, I'm not doing it because I don't want to be there with that person. I'm doing it because like um I'm starting to feel more jittery, or like or like if I feel like overstimulated in a situation or an environment, I like need something that I can like control in that moment. And so oftentimes, like I did the other day when we were at dinner and y'all were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just touching my phone." Like I don't know what to do with my body right now. um,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I personally really dislike it. Like, okay, if we're gonna do the thing where it's just like we're existing in each other's spaces and we're not talking, then I think it's fine. But if we're like having dinner or having drinks, I always truly dislike it when someone gets on their phone and it like offends me, but I never say anything because in the back of my head, I'm thinking about like what you just said, where I'm like, they could just be anxiously fidgeting, like it's fine. That's why I didn't say anything. It was Daisy who said something to you, and that's why she gave you what did she give you? Like a hair tie. So you
Little
can sit
coral
with
hair
that
tie.
instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also something really specific to my family, and it might be specific to other people's families. But like if it's really rude, it's considered really rude in my family if you're on your phone in front of them. Like we can't be on our phone at the dinner table, and because that's like rude.
Interesting enough, in my family, they also consider it rude. There's a lot of things that I tend to do that they consider rude, and I'm like, I'm just overwhelmed.
Yeah. That's why I don't say anything, because I'm like, everyone's going through something else. This isn't just about me. Just because I think it's rude, like it's I know you and I know you're not being rude. So
I think what's important is that we're aware of the way we're using it. So if we ever need to put up those boundaries again, we know what to look out for and like what emotions to be weary of. And I think that goes again with anything in life and any relationship that we hold in life, is like knowing, is being intentional about it and being aware of what it is we're experiencing with it. Um, and I really like the way that like you wanted to use the word relationship with social media, because it is very like, it is a relationship. It is something that we are interacting with, and it's only very very particular to us.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, with any relationship, including social media, just be aware of the way it is impacting you. So
100%. I think that's a really nice way to wrap it up. So again, I want to thank you all for watching for what now, a 12th week in a row. We really appreciate it. And I thought this conversation was really cool and funny and taught us a lot about ourselves. So thank you.
thanks.
Bye.